Welcome to the Lynn and Scott Show and our friends.
Good
Oh,
evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Hey,
and we just have more friends come
We
in.
got more friends coming in. We've got Theodora, we've got Debbie, we've got Bob, and who knows who else is going to show up tonight, Lynn?
We
Who
don't
else
know.
do we want on here?
What's that, Bob?
Do we want more people on?
We don't know.
How many can StreamYard hold?
10. 10.
Yeah, we push the limits. We do.
Good for you.
So I really want to get started because we got this guy that I hope he gets some rest here, Mr. Bob Donnell, Mr. Amazing guy that goes around and helps where help's needed. I'd like to give him the floor and share a little bit with our audience where he's been and what he's doing and how other people can help, which in the private message, Bob, will you send me your Venmo thing? And I'll post that right now too, please. So
okay, yeah. As soon as I get done talking.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So go right ahead.
Yeah, when these crisis situations happen, like in Vegas or Uvalde, Texas now, and all these different things. If I'm given the opportunity, I'll go and just spend time there. And really, the first thing I get asked is, "What do you do there, Bob?" I mean, when you get there, what do you do? Well, the first thing I do is I go to local places where people hang out, and I join the conversation people are having around town. So in Uvalde, 21 people were killed, 19 of them children, and so I go and plug into different spots where people gather. Sometimes it might be a Starbucks, it might be a favorite watering hole, restaurant, whatever, or at the memorial site where they had multiple memorial sites in Uvalde. So I'll go and I'll just be a presence there. So they go, well, what do you say? 90% of the time I don't have to say anything. Most of those people, they don't need to hear people giving them lip service. What they need is they just need somebody to be present with them. And so my focus is just to be there. And a lot of times the conversation opens up because they'll ask something, or because I might ask something about how they know, the person that they're maybe looking at the picture of somebody. But the bottom line is, then when I'm there, I try and meet with, law enforcement, any first responders, to encourage them and support them, as well as visit with, mayors or anything else I can possibly do. So this trip was a 3-day drive there, 3 days there, and then I'll be 3-day drive back. So I just got back from Uvalde to Tucson about 10-15 minutes ago, and we'll be here overnight and then turn and head back towards my house, and we'll take probably 2 days.
Go ahead, Scott, because I know you got a lot to say about that.
No, I just want to say thank you for being there and doing that, and it's nice to see. It's a shame that we should even have to do things like that. It's a shame that in this country, that we're still having things that they're not having anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
But thank you for stepping up and being one of the ones to care about what happens to the people and everything else.
Well,
and
thank you guys for your support.
What's that?
Thank you guys for your support. I mean,
certainly
I can't do it without people supporting it. So
certainly.
Which, by the way, if you'll go ahead and type in the private chat that Venmo, we're taking donations to help Bob with gas. I don't care if it's $10, $25. Please give whatever you can, because he selfishly has been sleeping on like 2-inch layer of mat in a van.
Oh, it's not that bad. It's a 6-inch.
Okay, 6.
Foam.
Oh,
come on.
Well, that's for Rich Carlson. Then what are you talking about? You should be totally fine.
Yeah, seriously. I used to be homeless, man. Come on. Are you kidding me?
Me too. I used to live in my car with no mat, so much better.
Well, the donations will probably go down to $5, $2, but whatever you can send,
we'll just buy you half of the tank of gas.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
But again, Bob, awesome what you do. Thank you so very much. It's appreciated by many.
Thank you.
But let's all pray that one day everyone will get off their asses and do what's right, and we won't have these issues in this country anymore.
Yeah.
It's got to stop. Somewhere it's got to stop. But
I'm being a peace officer back in the day, and I was going to be a New York State trooper, and my brother was in law enforcement, and so was my family. I really love that you love us, that you love what we stand for. It's just the right thing to do. And like I said, I'm going to leave that on there for a little bit. Bob, I know you're tired. If you need to leave, we totally understand.
I'm good.
Okay. I just keeping an eye on you. And we'll
If you
also
notice me dot
Of
off,
course
just
she
yell.
is.
yeah. Well, I care about everybody. What can I say? It's a good bad habit I have. And we'll go ahead and put that in the messages here soon too. Let's see here. Hey, Darlene's here too. We thank you for being here. Now, Scott, you want to go ahead and read what we're talking about and start the conversation?
Yeah, Lynn, I actually sent you a message you a picture.
Yep, and I'm uploading it right now.
If you could upload that.
Yep, I got you.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about, I know, listen, we have a great time when we all just talk, and look at all these great people here, and Sandra and Bob and Debbie and Barry and Theodora, and of course, Lynn.
It's up there, Scott, so go for it.
Yeah. Well, I spent the weekend with my family, with my children, and it's the first time in 15 years that we've all been together in the same place. With me and my 3 kids. And more importantly, it's the first time in 15 years everyone was sober. And my daughter battled her addiction. My son battled his alcoholism. I battled my addiction. My oldest daughter is normal, so nobody knows how to even talk to her. But
so normal.
Like you took from us.
but we were all together, and I looked, and every one of us at one point felt that fatalistic, I'm stuck and things are never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow each of us had to find it within ourselves to make that change. And what I wanted to talk about is everybody talks about, hey, Lee, I could coach you through this, I could coach you through that. But the real change has to happen. The first thing that has to happen is somebody has to find within themselves, I can do this, I can change, I can get unstuck. And I'd really like your opinions on how people find that. Because there's so many people listening to us right now that say, I am stuck in this marriage. I'm stuck in this job. I'm stuck in this cycle of pain and depression and anxiety. How do they find the spark within themselves even to call somebody for help? And I'd really like to hear some about that, because I watched my children do it, and to me, it's nothing short of a miracle. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to throw it out there. I also want to laugh and have a good time too. So don't worry, I'll still throw a joke out there or two. I'm glad we got the twin brothers here joining us again.
I had to do that. I had to keep them apart. By the way, I hope all of you guys are sharing this on your page right now. So if you're not, take a minute to do that. I really appreciate that, because I think this is an important topic everybody should have. Oh, Sandra's there. Thank you, Sandra, for being here. My Miss Debbie is here, and Barry and Theodora. I just thank you all for coming here. This is just an honor to both Scott and I. And, just like my Live, Love, Laugh, I mean, it's basically, I don't think we all have gotten, and we've all been blessed to get to the age we are, but we all are not unscathed of something in our lives. So if we can all dig deep and think of those times where things just didn't seem to be as glorious as it is now, and maybe we personally can give other people hope by the things we've been through, lightheartedly, but to the point. And so anybody, popcorn style here, like in Clubhouse, if there's anybody that wants to go first, by all means, go first. I don't care. But I really thank you for just taking this time and being vulnerable with other people, so that they too might see something in you that they need to hear. So anybody want to go first?
Okay. Wow, that's a first. That is a first. Everybody is quiet.
All right. Well,
I think we've all been stuck. I think, and I've been stuck so many times. I think for the first time I was stuck when I had a husband who decided to pack the U-Haul and leave me with a 1-year-old and a house and nothing else. I was stuck. I didn't have a job. I had some money, but not a lot, and I was stuck. We've all been stuck. Being stuck is part of the growth, in my opinion. Again, I speak from just my opinion, what I believe. I see people stuck in their financial life all day, every day. How do we get out? First, like Scott said, we have to believe that we can. We have to make the decision to get unstuck. And if there's something that we can do it for ourselves, of course, for our well-being, for our emotional health, for everything that we are. But then the next step, if that's something that we cannot do, is ask for help. The so many people get, and again, I speak from experience. For example, credit card debt. In my financial career, I see a lot of credit card debt, and especially more and more now, people are forced to put everything on the credit card. How do you get out of that? It's a habit. First of all, you have to recognize the problem, and then take action and realize that you do need help, and then ask for help. And I think those are the first three most important steps in getting unstuck and doing better and getting better. But one of the hardest thing to do is ask for help, right? Do we agree with that? Like, what's the hardest thing from your experience? What is the hardest thing that you had to go through?
Well, I want to mention something to you, Dora, because when you mentioned the credit card debt, and that kind of debt, it's just like every other life problem. We feel like we're stuck because there's not an answer that's going to immediately relieve everything. Right. It means we've got to put in work, like chopping down your debt.
Yes.
You don't win the lottery and then go pay off your debt. You actually have to chip it away a little bit at a time, be consistent, and be true to yourself and true to your task. And that's like that in every other thing that we do. It's that very first beginning step of, all right, well, I'm going to do this. It's not going to make it all better overnight. I'm not going to feel like a winner tomorrow, but I can do this. And so I actually, that equates, I think, to a lot of things. What do you guys think?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Deb.
Oh, wait a minute. Barry's going to speak.
Oh, wait.
I
Go
know.
ahead.
Barry's going to speak.
I want to hear Barry. I want. He's going to say something.
Well, this is the relationship stuff. People are stuck in relationships.
Yeah,
probably is the number one sticker point.
Yeah.
So
come
tell
on,
us,
Barry.
how do you get unstuck, Barry?
There's various reasons and ways, but I want to speak a couple of stories of my own life first. And also, one of my teachers said this about pain pushes till the vision pulls. And a lot of times what we'll do is we'll stick to pain because we're familiar with it. But once we get clear about the possibility that there's something more that we can have, because first of all, it's got to be in here somewhere. We're going to say, is there a way out? Because most of us don't even think about that. So even though we're sitting in this pit, in this hole, where life isn't working and we can't see the way out, if we look up and see there's some sky, it's like there's a possibility. We don't know how we're going to get there. That's a possibility. I've had things happen in my life where I didn't know how. I mean, I went through a lot of things in my childhood. There were a lot of bullying, stuff like that from my my peers in high school, and that impacted me for a long time afterwards. And I didn't think about what I could do to fix it. But then something happened where I got led into a seminar for all the wrong reasons. I'll tell you that story at some point. Okay, I'll tell it now. What the hell? Basically, I'd come out to the States, and that was a story itself about coming out to the States. I'd gotten a computer job in Europe. I always been computer programming back in the late 70s, early 80s. Worked in Europe for a couple of years. Didn't like living back in England. It was too small now. I'd outgrown it, sort of thing. And I had this idea about working in America. 2 weeks later, I had a job here. I don't know how it happened. I mean, I know now how it happened, but I didn't have a plan. A friend of mine leaned over to me like 2 days later and said, this company's hiring people to go work in the States. And I went, they are? So the universe is listening, first of all. So that's one thing to put in your back.
100%.
The universe is listening.
Yeah.
So fast forward to being out in the States, I got my green card and I was working in the computer industry. And the first seminar I went into, and I've been in the personal development field since '84, I met this guy I was working with, rather, freelance computer programming in the aerospace industry. And he came in one morning looking pretty hungover, but he wasn't drinking. I knew that. So where have you been? You look so exhausted. He said he'd just been to a seminar. I said, what the hell is a seminar? I had no idea. He said, basically, you got to learn some good information, met some cool people, and there's some cute women. I said, where do I sign? So that's how I started the personal development journey, just to be transparent. So so I've had those things happen a lot, where miracles happen without me knowing how. But in relationship, that stuckness, it's kind of like the thing that it's like you put, for those people who are vegetarians, cover your ears, If you put like a crab or a lobster in boiling water, they'll try and get out right away. If you put them in cold water and they heat the water up, they stay in there and they're not dying in there. That's what people do in relationships. They get used to it and stay there because they don't notice the change over time. So for a lot of people, what the work is really start looking back and have a sort of before and after experience to know what it is that's changed, because it may be going better. I mean, that's the ideal, that you get in a relationship that gets better and better and better. But a lot of people, though, it gets stagnant. And that's the stuckness people have in relationships. And you've got choices. One is to become, okay, are we willing to together change this relationship to be better because we both realize things happening? Or am I the only one awake here going, this is not working? But it's that recognition of change where we start deciding, what do you want to do? For some people, numbing out their feelings by doing something addictive to avoid the possibility of divorce, breakup, all that sort of stuff comes up. And for some people, being divorced is the only way. So it's a matter of choice. I hope that adds to the conversation a bit.
Absolutely.
I love that you said all those things, because there's been times in my life where I've just had to say, but I can't do this again, blah, blah, blah. And then I've had to just go in and say, wait a second, Lynn, you have gotten through a lot of things in your life. But I had to go back to those places, revisit them and say, how did I do it? Because we get into the autopilot and we get into these things where, it's hard to see anything but. We got a comment here. You want to read that?
Yeah,
Scott?
Scott's comment. I have been stuck in my current situation for 20 years. It took me having a serious conversation with one of my friends for me to realize that I had to make a change. If it wasn't for my dear friend, I'd probably be stuck in the same situation forever. Yeah, I mean, but that's even the act of opening up and talking about how stuck you feel it takes an act of faith, an act of courage. Because, and I know that there is even some differences between men and women with these things, because if men do something that isn't quite right or isn't working, men could be, you're a disappointment. With women, there's a lot more judgment that goes on with women when they're in bad situations than there is with men. I imagine that probably plays into a little bit of that, being stuck and not wanting to be labeled and things like that too. So, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm just taking a shot in the dark, but what do you think? I don't know, Sandra, you look like you're ready to go to the ball.
Sandra's getting ready to take off and go somewhere, it looks like.
I know. Look at you, are all sparkly.
Hey. I'm sparkly. I don't see myself, this is such a powerful conversation, and thanks everybody, for adding to it. The first thing I want to say is, being a woman of a certain age who has gone through a lot of her own personal journey, I could say without a doubt that the first thing, being not only a survivor, but now a thriver of childhood sexual assault, and changing my perpetrators through my life, I didn't have the self-awareness until I came to a point of becoming so codependent, living in victimization. However, what I had done, which may resonate for many people, is I actually shut myself down. I shut my emotions off. And so what happens for many people is that you disconnect. There's no flow between your heart and your mind. And what I've found, the truth through all of this, is that when you awaken and you realize that you're living in your past, because that's where you are in a stuck state, you're anxious in the future, that you're not in your present moment. So what I would say, one of the most fundamental aha moments I had was realizing that I had a choice. I had a choice that I wanted more in life. I was financially successful, but I was numb on the inside. And when I awoke to this story, everything just came out. You feel like that frog or something, that everything just kind of regurgitates out, or it just all of a sudden just flew out of me. And for many people, it's just that moment of realizing, can I get present with myself? Can I begin anew? Our beautiful mentor, Rex, I know he's not here today, but always says, what is new and great? For some of us, when we have that aha moment, it's because we get present. So one of the beautiful, oh my gosh, What is that?
Look, he's got his glasses.
That was our comedy relief at the and a
He's holding his glasses. He's
conversation.
got 'em.
So
He's
Look,
making a
the
serious
orange
point.
tie.
he's not here, but
Oh.
I had to break it up a little. But no, Sandra, girl, I've been there right there with you. Not the same. I mean, like I totally relate. And the fact that you're sitting here and being vulnerable and sharing this with our audience means so much to me personally. So I want to
Thanks,
thank you,
Lynn.
but continue to go. But I just had to crack that
Well,
open.
I want you know what? I love it because that's the thing. I don't want everyone to go. It's about the story, but it's about what can you be inspired by the story.
Exactly.
Yes.
The first thing I really do feel is that we know we have choice. We can get present. Begin every day to have that gratitude, to start to believe that you can change. I mean, I always knew I would get in action. I would go into Mother Earth. I'd go golfing. I would do whatever it took. But it was you talked about this, Scott, earlier. It was the moment when I started to meditate. When I quieted my mind, because my mind was so squirrely with so many things trying to keep myself distracted, that when I became quiet, all of a sudden I woke up. And so I am a huge advocator of anyone, if you are feeling uncomfortable, if you are feeling discomfort, take yourself into nature and just get present with your present moment.
Absolutely.
And so for me, that's the cool thing. I don't want to keep chatting too much, but I mean, there's so many other great things here.
Sandra, you made a point there, though, and I think it was brought up a little bit by Barry before.
Rex moment.
We settle into that. You settled into that victimization is almost like it's a blanket. That victimization
100%.
is like it's a horrible place to be, but as horrible as it is, I decorate it, I make it my home, I make it my life. So letting go of that. People don't realize it's not like when you're letting go of something horrible, you just throw it away. It's actually hard to let go of that because that's all we've known.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
100%.
that's a difficult moment, isn't it? To say, I have to give up being a victim now, and I have to be responsible for myself.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing
And
to do, right?
it's the words. Like, this is the thing for everyone listening, is just take a moment and start to monitor yourself. What are you saying about yourself and about people?
Yes.
Because that's the key. Like, I love doing a personal inventory. And the other thing is getting rid of the people who don't serve you any longer. And that may sound selfish, but it's the truth.
It's
because when
healthy.
you surround yourself, it is healthy. You set boundaries and you say, I'm done, because what I was doing to feel and to be of service, because I didn't realize it, I was giving way too much in order to have the feeling, because I hadn't connected into the inner source of me. Does that make sense to everybody? So we'll just kind of do a dance and we'll say, hey, let's shake it off. Let's move. Let's do.
I need to do this.
Oh, I lost you all. There you are.
Not yet.
That's all good.
Coming in.
Rex
There
is
he
in the
is.
house.
Oh, we got caught.
Hey,
You got caught right in the act.
Hello.
Listen, I
Welcome,
want to say
Rex.
something to you, Scott. So I'm really glad you got unstuck, because I sure do enjoy knowing you. So thank you for getting unstuck. And Bob, thank you for doing what you're doing, going to trauma crisis situations and helping people. And I loved being able to actually hear Barry complete a complete sentence without us interrupting him tonight. Oh my gosh. And Theodora, I just love you, that what you've gone through and how you were a single mom and just pulled yourself up by your bootstraps and said, grr, I love that.
Every day.
And Rex, good to see you. Lynn, I love you. And Sandra, what you said was sort of a segue into what I wanted to share tonight, because I'm actually really just going to stay on here not very much longer, but I just came from yoga. And when you said get into a meditation, quiet spaces, because I'm like that too. I'm a busy person and my mind never hardly shuts off. Meditation has helped me. Yoga has helped me. But we always get a card. Nature's Hamza is where I go. I love this lady. And tonight, and this is what our card that was read aloud said: I continuously push myself to learn and develop in areas of life that bring me happiness, freedom, and purpose. And then it says, there's a lot before this, so I'm going to jump on down. But what I thought was interesting is there's no coincidence coincidences, hashtag no coincidences, because this, even though it's not saying get unstuck, it's helping us understand how we can learn to get unstuck by doing this. If you do not try, you have 100% chance of failing. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Alternately, if you never stop trying, you have a 100% chance of learning and experiencing something new. If you commit to learning and gaining new experience in the direction of your dreams, you'll fill your journey with success, happiness, freedom, and purpose. So I guess when I read that and I knew what the show was going to be about is getting unstuck, it just immediately spoke to me. It was like, yeah, I guess, if people are feeling stuck and they don't know how to get out of it, maybe go into themselves, like Sandra said, and try to find that quiet place to learn what that is, but start doing new things, going on adventures, living your life in the moment, and see where that takes you. I thought that was, I just had to share.
There's
Yeah,
the book.
read life on your terms.
Sandra, what page is that list of going outside and doing the activity? Because Sandra's notoriously known on Clubhouse. Rex book on page, and I'm not knocking her, but she's that good.
No, that's
on
amazing.
page
True.
and on page. So not to put you on the spot because your book's not in front of you, but
My
it
book's
is
not
on
in
a
front of me,
certain
girl.
page in here. Everything you said, I kid you
I
not.
have mine.
Yes,
It's
I
so
kid you not.
true.
It just
It's
Rex
so
has
true.
done a really great job putting all those things that you said right in one book, and then a segue to.
I wonder
to,
if Rex knows what page it's on.
No, he had somebody help him.
Rex hasn't read it yet.
I wouldn't tell you anyway, because the point is to get to that page.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
Ooh,
It's a choice.
deep.
It's a choice. That's the key. Make the choice today, everybody.
And
Choose you.
And I
That's
need
it.
to say I'm excited because of Sandra. I'm an international producer now because I'm producing her show as well as Debbie.
Ooh.
So pretty
All
excited
right.
about that.
Exciting.
And we're working for something for Rex's intro, so I'm super excited. We're gonna take some time and get that right, but I think everybody's gonna like it when we get that done.
Yeah.
Lynn, I
So-
know some people said they had to leave early, so would you mind putting that picture up of my daughter, please?
Yeah. Oh yeah, hon, you can do it too.
Oh, I know, but I don't feel like it. Go ahead.
Oh, so I got to produce on this show. I gave him access to produce, and I'm still producing.
He's
Don't I get a
delegating.
time off?
I put my coffee where my mouse usually is.
Okay, so explain how the beautiful.
The redhead on the left is my daughter with her beautiful wife, Lexi, and that's Cordelia and Lexi, and Cordelia started her life at 9 years old doing crack, meth, and heroin with her mother.
Wow.
And she spent a lot of years in and out of everything from jails to hospitals to institutions. And when her mother passed, she went into a very, very bad run. And it wasn't until she found something within herself. And as you see her there today, she is the brightest, most incredible, most beautiful person in the world. And sober, happy, in love, giving, and it's a miracle to me. And I can't tell you how she got unstuck, because to everybody the answer is a little bit different. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, that I was making funeral plans for her a couple of years ago, and I got to stand with her and our new extended family, who are all wonderful people. Even if they are Connecticutians, I'll get past that. But to see the change in her, and just to have that experience all morning until the afternoon, when my son walked into the yard and my son joined us, and my son, who is now 2 months sober, is fighting the good fight as well. But
awesome.
It never happened when I wanted it to happen. It didn't happen because I tried to make it happen. It happened because somewhere inside they found the spark. They found something, and they asked for help, and then I could be there for them. So
Exactly.
that's why I wanted to tell everybody, no matter how bad things seem, no matter how desperate things may seem, there is a way out. But you got to start by finding something in you that you want to save. Because if you don't find something in you that's redeeming or redeemable, you're not going to make the effort. So please look inside.
Listen,
We didn't grow up to become this. I didn't go out with my friends and play rehab with my friends. I played cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians. We weren't out playing drug addict when I was a kid. It's like, come here, Billy, lay down and shake. You're the heroin addict. We didn't do that. We were supposed to be more than this. And I had to reach inside to find that for me. I need everyone else to find it for them. It's a bad marriage. It's a bad relationship. It's a bad job. It's a bad neighborhood. It's just a bad situation. It can all change once you decide it's going to change. So I love you all. I love all of you guys. You guys Sandra said good people. You guys are the good people. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, Scott, it's just such a, what's that? It's such a cool chain of events here, because it wasn't till just a year ago that Scott and I reconnected from high school. I mean, we've been friends on Facebook. We hadn't talked. And, I prayed for his family when he told me everything happened, and I knew this day would come. So I'm super excited about that. But what I'm saying is Scott has left all his high school friends behind. He only has one other friend and I that he carried over to his life now. So again, we reconnected, and it's just been the best thing since we reconnected as besties, next to Teresa, of course. And it's just a super cool, because it's the domino effect, you guys. I mean, we've been doing shows, and then he's connected with all you guys through me and stuff. It's just, but then I said to him, if you didn't find your way to where you were and were an example for your kids, you showed them that if dad can do this, there's got to be something. If dad loves me the way he does. I mean, Scott has worked, he won't tell you this, but he's worked so much he could get his kids and call in favors at any rehab as possible. I mean, he did everything he could as a dad, as a person, the intervention person. And I mean, he took the lead. He worked on himself. The kids seen what dad could do. And so if you parents out there feel like you've done bad and you can't change your life for your kids, you've got to do you first. And your kids will see that you're redeemable. They're redeemable. And you got to love your kids even when you don't think they're lovable. Scott could sit here and say, oh, well, it was my wife's fault, and she's the one who died, and she's the one who had a worse addiction than I did. And he could have not taken ownership. So you people out there that don't take ownership, because it takes two to make a baby. It's not just one DNA of another person. Stay accountable. Be accountable for yourself, and know that you've got to love them. You can't say, oh, well, I don't love her because I didn't like my spouse. They're screwed. I'm not going to. When you have a child, you're obligated to love them unconditionally. And if we had more of that, we'd have more kids surviving and thriving. And so I've said enough of that. I had to just say, Scott, you planted the seeds, and your kids seen it. And I just love you for that. And I think round of applause for you, my friend. Yeah, because you got yourself unstuck, and then it was a ripple effect.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thanks.
That's the thing. They see
I'm
the
sorry,
journey.
I'm a little emotional, so you
Aw.
guys go ahead.
It's okay.
And the
You're
painting, I mean, the way that,
Yeah.
gosh, the things that you've discovered about yourself since you found yourself, it's incredible.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, Debbie, but I want to say, like Sandra, you and I have, some of the same history and whatever. We don't need to rehash that, but I will tell you, Sandra and I choose not to speak about our past, but it's those women and those people that have spoke their past, that have allowed other people to get out of their own way and say, look, they survived. They can do it. I can do it. And sometimes you need to be the pillar of don't be selfish, because if some people have helped you along the way, you need to pay it forward. Rex, he gives hours and time to other people. This man is a humble guy too. He gives and gives and gives. And he does so much. I mean, his blog, everything. I mean, you get this book, you get a course, you can get unstuck because of just his course that comes with this. Not everybody does that. You get that before you get this book. I mean, Bob Donnell is. Go ahead.
You can't get it before you get the book.
Well, I mean, you buy the book and then you get the course for free, and you use the course before you get the book. Thank you for explaining that.
But it's so true, Hey, Lynn, I just want to, honor that space, because you got to show up.
Yeah.
And you got to get uncomfortable with the discomfort.
Yes.
That's the key for change. Because when we're not having discomfort, we're not changing.
Yeah.
You know, we're dying. We need to be growing and progressing and taking in information. And that's why I love conscious leadership, because we always say above the line or below the line. If you're above the line, you're open, you have high energy, you're open to other people's ways of being and connecting and looking at things. You know, I love Rex so much because it's always about what is new and good, and having gratitude and all these things. You embed it, it becomes you. And I think when you're below the line, many leaders are like that because we're not awakened. I was that, I'm not that now. But many people are like that. They're just like, look at their body. Look at yourself now if you're listening. How are you listening? You know, like, are you shut down, or can you just shift and move your body? Open yourself up to possibility. Yeah, it's not going to be friendly sometimes, but anything is possible. I was that single mom. You know, I went through a whole bunch of crap, but it's not about that. It's how do you get out of it? Make the choice today to change. That's it.
And one thing to add to that, there's a book out called Affirmations. I'll say it's Scott. What's his name? It's on Amazon.
Oh, wait, Rex can say something about affirmations.
No, not
Rex?
affirmations.
I know the book. It's based on my work.
It's based on his work.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
But there's more to it than that.
There's an
I think I want to say
Go ahead, Barry.
that. Well, the thing is like people sometimes get caught up in the idea they have to believe what they're going to have, and they're going to stuck in this thing like until I believe it's not going to change. One of my things, and it sounds so silly, but I grew up reading science fiction, and I'm an addict for that stuff. I read 500 books when I was a teenager, and I love watching science fiction shows. The premise of science fiction is what if. So if you're not like you're stuck in something, if you ask yourself, what if it could be different?
Yeah.
Just what if I turn left instead of turning right? What if I meet somebody else today? Just ask the question and let it hang out there. One of the best things I've learned as a skill for myself is ask questions I don't know the answers to, and let the question hang out.
Go to Rex. Rex, you're ready.
That is my work.
Yeah.
That is exactly my work. Ask a question you don't know the answer. Well, the examples.
I just ordered your book. Then did I waste my time ordering your book? Then
no,
it's not so much.
Hasn't come yet.
It's been in my audio programs, in the NLP program, Mind Design, and the Attitude Activator for 40 years. It's been there's numerous books that have based themselves off of my work. It's not just you don't want to ask questions by rote. It's not like you're affirming, but you do want to ask. You do want to ask repeatedly, but you want to ask questions that direct your mind and that you don't know the answer to. If you say, "How much fun am I going to have?" you don't know what the answer is. If you say, "Why am I an idiot?" your brain will say, "Well, because of this." You know, if you say, "How come?" "Why am I blessed?" your brain may have a more difficult time coming up with that answer because it doesn't routinely do that. You're going to do whatever you have made a habit. So if you're used to ragging on yourself and go, "Why am I an idiot? How come nothing ever works out? Why are things, going so poorly for me?" It's training yourself to ask other questions, but then hanging in there, looking for it. If I say, "Where'd you get your shirt?" your brain knows where you got your shirt, whether you consciously do or not. You might say, "I got a gift. I got it as a present. I bought it from a store," name the store. Your brain knows how to go after what it is that you want, but you're not. Here's the thing that everybody seems to miss, and that I keep now am talking about, is everybody seems to go after information. You're not wanting information to come back. Why you're lucky, why you're helpful, why you're this. You want the behaviors and the feelings to come back. So in how many different ways can I find myself feeling wonderful right now as I begin to move in this way? Or how quickly can I find myself getting unstuck and moving forward in a way that puts a smile on my face? You're literally trying to direct yourself into behaviors and into feelings of the wish fulfilled, as opposed to trying to figure out how to get there. So there's a lot to it that's been missed in the numerous books that it's in. And I just within the last 2 months just found it in another book where they go, "This is the most powerful thing ever," and it was somebody else renamed it again, and it is what it is. There's a 2015 article that people can find that talks about my work and the other people that you may know. What I started my work in 1980, they came along in 1999, so almost 20 years later or more, people were rediscovering it in whatever way. But at any rate, that's neither here nor there. What I would like to say is, for most people, and this goes for questions and everything else, but I love you, Barry. So this is very cool. The issue for most people is that they don't practice getting unstuck when they don't need to. If you're a martial artist, white belt to black belt, you rehearse over and over and over again what to do in crisis situations, what to do if attacked, what to do to be offensive. And yet when people get stuck, they do it over and over and over again. So what they end up doing is practice getting stuck each time and then blaming themselves each time and then going down that rabbit hole instead of rehearsing, how do I get unstuck? What do I need to do? Having a contingency plan. And so there's a way to use your brain to program in success. What does stuck mean? I mean, I've asked this for 40 years in workshops. It's one of the primary questions. What does stuck mean? What does it imply? It implies no movement, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you get unstuck? You have to create movement, whether that's physical movement, emotional movement, or mental movement, thinking movement. You have to do it. So when I created the Attitude Activator, one of the primary purposes of that program, which has been a bestseller forever, was for people to get stuck by having them. It's a 5-phase audio, but the point is after the introduction, I lead people into a place where it's a little bit agitating and a little bit, like negative, right? So that people have a taste of what it feels like to be stuck or to have a problem or to be worried or anxious or fearful or doubtful or whatever, and then take them out of it. And it's like, if you can remember stop, drop, and roll, you can remember to stop, take a deep breath and pause, and then do something different. So it's a process that leads people from stuck into the movement. But if they don't ever get into the stuck state first to know what it is they're wanting to move away from, they'll just find themselves stuck over and over and over again. But with the program that I developed, you can rehearse stuck in all sorts of different things: stuck in your relationship, stuck in your dieting, stuck in your health, stuck with your habits, stuck with smoking, stuck with being angry, stuck with whatever. And you can literally go through and start dismantling these and getting more and more movement. When you do that, if you do that a few times, the brain starts to generalize it. Oh, whenever I feel this, instead of feeling stuck and stopping and freaking out, I start to feel, take a deep breath, stop, whatever, and move into a positive way. So you literally reprogram and train yourself to go from stuck to unstuck. But not just unstuck, because unstuck is like neutral of your car. It's an important place, but it's not the drive, Right. So if you're parked, you go into neutral and then you go into drive. And that's the way we go from stuck to moving forward.
Rex, there's just one thing I need to know is, are you serious about this?
I did that when I first got here. I took off my glasses, but nobody seemed to care.
Oh, we had this excerpt before you got here before.
There we go.
Me going, oh yeah, I think your God is tough.
That's the picture where he's like, look, I found him.
I found them. Yeah. Right.
So Bob,
I found them.
Being the behavior
guru.
Guru in the room, what would you like to share or say? Or we can't hear you. You're muted.
Unmute. No.
Let's see. Here, I'll try to unmute him.
Traveling, he might be.
Can't unmute a guest because he chose to be muted. It tells me.
Yeah.
But can he hear you? Because he's not.
He can hear us, but yeah, you just have to go down.
We can't hear you because he's muted. So
yeah, where the camera is and the mute, there we go. He left. He's probably coming right back. On down below. Device not connected. Whoops. Okay, we'll get him back in a minute.
It's interesting, Rex, because one of the things that I teach people, because I run therapeutic music programs for people with addictions and mental health issues and stuff, and I have them experiment by listening to different kinds of music and decide how it makes them feel. And that certain kinds of music makes us feel just happy. You can't help it. You can't play the Beach Boys and cry. You just can't. You feel happy. For me, it's the Beatles. Then there's other music that just makes us feel bad and brings us down. And I say, as simple as controlling the dial on the radio, you have control over whether you're going to be happy or sad. And you've got to take that, and you've got to understand that. And people never realize it's like, if I'm miserable and they believe there's no way I could change being miserable, but of course you can. You can make choices that make you happy, just like turning the dial on the radio. So it's really, therapeutic music is a great way to get that point across that you were talking about.
I agree, Scott.
I think we got Bob now.
I muted it when I coughed, and then it wouldn't let me unmute it, so I had to exit and come back in. So I was just
you hit the COVID button.
Yeah, that's it. I was just saying, all of those thoughts were really, really good. I think, I when I think of stuck, I think one, there's degrees of stuck. So I don't need to blow up an anthill with a bazooka. So I'm careful to not do that.
Right.
I look at it as for what it really is. It's maybe it's just being stuck in just a thought, or maybe I've just created a pattern that I've just keep doing over and over again. So I always think about one, what is the degree of stuck, and then I also I go back to this whole thing. Sometimes stuck is just a pause, and maybe it's an intentional pause. So I would say, is this just a pause, or do I really feel stuck? Like there's no way I can get out of this. And then I always ask myself this: if there is no way that I can get unstuck, then if my child's life was on the line, what would I do? And it's amazing how many solutions I come up with when the sense of urgency. So, one of the next several pillars I always teach is that fear and procrastination, in this case being stuck, will always take a backseat to a greater sense of urgency. So I learned how to manipulate the urgency for myself so that I can do that. So, and I think when people do that, but they have to come to the understanding first, one, how severe is it? One, and then two, is this really stuck, or is this just an intentional pause where I really need to just stop? I need to shut up. I need to be still and just, and let God be God and deal with things. And I think those are the first two things that I always say when I've got a client that's stuck.
Thank you so much. Couldn't agree more. I mean, it's one of those things where we sometimes, and as mothers, if you put it that way to us, well, and fathers too, I'm not saying that, but as parents, it's like when you say, how about what would you do for your child? It's amazing how all of a sudden it does change when you ask the right question to yourself. If you won't do it for you, will you do it for your children?
Yeah, I think another thing that I do a lot in one of my classes is I always have like a whiteboard, and I say, out of this particular area of your life where you're feeling stuck or you're feeling frustrated, out of all the information that's available in the universe, how much information do you think you know? And they'll always say a dot. They'll always just say one dot, and I'll go, but you know what? When you go to solve a problem, you always go back to the dot. When I always go, what do I not know? Let's start with that. And then I'm at least working on new information.
Bob, not to interrupt you, but Debbie, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for sharing what you did. Watch Find It tomorrow.
I love hearing what everyone has to say. Everyone's different input on how to get unstuck. That's really cool. It's going to help people. Take care.
Love you.
Thanks for the invite. Bye.
Love you.
And then there were 7.
Awesome.
Number 7.
Hey, and then there's 7. Hey, one of the things too, I just wanted to add to this because, again, I really appreciate everyone's lens, but one of the things that I found that's so awesome is learning through NLP. Because then we're able to learn the tools to actually shift our state. I fully believe, and thank you, Rex, for your great program. If individuals could learn this earlier, how much better, how much less pain, less suffering people could have. Yes, there's some, people go on one or the other sides of NLP, but fundamentally, you're able to call upon your resources. That's what Rex has informed me and how I use this now with my work. It's huge. You're just helping yourself reprogram, repattern, and repurpose yourself into a direction so you can live gloriously in any moment. Consider that. Like, we don't need to suffer. We can look back. We don't need to go back too deep, too long, but then take your stories and understand your stories and use them for purpose. That's the cool part. When you're confused and you're off and you don't know why things are happening, just make that choice, and then you're able to go back in, bring in all your resources, and move forward. Like, I just can't tell you how much and how profound that knowledge is. And I'm from somebody who's got a lot of knowledge in there, and it's just like, no, this is the key to change. I love it. I yield.
Yeah. No, I love that. And Rex has taught me, you know, I mean, beforehand, I was just trying to read everybody and whatever. And I really have just taken notice to other people's behaviors and their demeanors and how they feel. And what's helped me in that resource is the fact that I realize I care so much, but so many people don't care for themselves or care for others. And it's nice to know that I don't have to spend my energy talking to a wall that's not going to crumble or talk back or communicate with me. You know, it's energy that's not flowing in the right direction. So I'm saving so much time in doing that and having more purposeful and more connected relationships. You know, I don't have to talk to Bob or Rex or Scott or Barry or any of you guys, but you know my love, you know my intention. And it's just like I'm at that level with people now. So I love that. So if somebody doesn't connect with me like that, I'm okay with that. They don't need to know. You know, this started out as my show and then with Scott and stuff. And yet I'm honored to have all you guys here. So some people are like, how do you get all these people together? That's a mystery you'll figure out when you figure out yourself and you figure out you don't have to fight.
We can't be
the
without
love.
you, Lynn.
What's that?
Yeah.
We can't be without you. I mean, I was in Romania and I missed Lynn. Like, I was like, I gotta get back. And if I don't hear from Lynn in like 2 days, something's not right.
Well, you know,
we just need each other. It's like,
well, Rex surprised me. I was on Christopher Rausch's show, and Rex surprised me, and Brian Kelm surprised me with really sweet letters. I got my own spoonful of medicine on another page, and I really was like, now I understand I leave people not knowing what to say, and that's how I felt on that show. So, but I love what I'm doing. That's what the world needs, is more love. The world needs to know that we need to, like Bob always says, you know, I see you, I hear you. And Bob, yesterday, I went to the doctors, and when I went to the doctors, you know, they call your name in the lobby, Lynn, you know, and then they weigh you. Like, okay, we go in the room, and I know she's going to ask me my name and my birthday. So I smile at her and I go, Lynn Serrano, and I go 12/11, and I tell her my birthday. She goes, oh, I didn't have my paper. I go, oh, I'm sorry. So I said 12/11, whatever. She goes, and your name? And I go, I told you that. She goes, I didn't have my paper. So I didn't continue with her. But when the doctor gets there, I said, look, I wasn't seen, nor was I heard. And normally the old Lynn would have just taken it, whatever, but I really felt good to stand my ground. And yet I didn't want her to do that to anybody else, because her excuse, she said 3 times, well, I'm not looking at my paper. Because I said, you know my name. I told you. I'm not looking at my paper. And I'm like, you're not hearing what you're just saying. You see my paper when you weighed me. You see my paper when you called me in the lobby. And then I said it to you, looking at you, smiling, and you're demanding that I tell you my name. I ended up telling her, but she was robotic. She was not connected, and she didn't see or hear me. And so I realized how many people are walking around, like we'll say, hey, Bob, how are you? And I'm already, and you're going to say, fine, good. But maybe that's not what you're going to say.
Right.
And so we have a problem in this world being disconnected with our robotic, you know, answering and gestures. And we need to really feel people where they're at. Rex seems like he wants to say something about that. No?
I feel like maybe she was stuck in an unhappy life, and maybe she you know, that person needed more help to recognize that there's good and beautiful around all the time. And to me, I always, when I encounter people that are just like mean and ugly, I just like to give them more love and encourage and smile and be nice and get them unstuck through love, because I feel that that's the most powerful feeling in the world. And when we give love is it helps and it just makes a difference. But I just want to say I love you all so much. I am so honored to be in the same room with you. I have a meeting in actually
Yes.
5 minutes.
Get going.
So I'm going to have to run.
Love
but
you.
I appreciate you coming live with this subject so that we can help other people and just help everybody and then make the world a beautiful place for all of us.
Love you. Yeah, we're
Theodora,
almost.
Theodora,
ahead.
you're a blessing. You're a blessing. You're a wonder, and you just got a great energy and spirit that you bring to every conversation and everywhere you go. And we thank you for that.
Yes.
Don't ever stop that, because you light up, your portion of the world. You take the responsibility and you light it up. And if there's more people like you, we'd all be better off.
Ah,
I
You
love
and your
you
love,
so
you and your
much.
beautiful daughter. You guys are amazing.
now
Yep.
it's my turn to cry. What are you
Yeah.
doing to me?
Yes. You deserve it. We love you.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here with you guys. And I'll see you next time.
Okay. Love you.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
And I too am going to have to leave.
Yes, we are closing this up in 4 minutes. So
Oh, does that mean I got to say something nice about Rex now?
yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
Say it,
shit.
So
after I go. Say it after I go so I can come back in and hear what you said.
Rex, do you have another couple minutes or not? Do you got to go? Or can you stay for the next? We're going to shut this
All
up.
right, I'll stick around.
Okay, go ahead, Scott.
What do you want me to do? I got to say something
Well,
nice
you
about
normally,
Rex?
no, you normally like say
Oh,
the
you want me
last
to?
word,
All right,
yeah,
start the
it up.
wrap up. I
Yeah,
think the
wrap
wrap up and what we could take away from all of this is, I think the great writer Richard Bach actually wrote it best when he says, "Argue for your limitations and they're yours." Our stuckness is really dependent on how much cement we keep pouring on ourselves and how much we keep looking at the situation instead of looking beyond it. As long as I'm staring at being sad, as long as I'm thinking about being sad, I'm going to stay sad. But if I look beyond the sadness and I look for something else, I can achieve anything. Stop arguing for your limitations. Stop arguing for being stuck, and start thinking about, what if I wasn't stuck? What would it be like? And start making it happen. Listen, the world is capable of change. We're all capable of doing wondrous things. And instead of sitting around in our well-fortified bunkers waiting for the world to end, maybe we need to step outside, say something nice to our neighbors, and be a part of the solution. Stop being a part of the problem. You want to unstuck yourself, then go help somebody else get out of the cement too. But it's people like you guys out there every day who are making it happen, and God bless all of you.
I love that, Scott.
Love you all.
So the last couple words, but just a brief last anything from anyone. Who would like to go first?
You know what, Lynn? I just got a pop up as well. And I just want to say it's always powerful. Look at your words, because words dictate your actions. So if we're not using powerful words to move ourselves forward, then what are we saying to ourselves and to others? So really get very purposeful in everything that you do. And that's the key. And drive that beautiful behavior and take time just to be you and to love yourself. So thank you, Lynn. Love you all.
Thank you so much.
I'm grateful.
Right.
Barry? Would you like to...
I'll go back to what I said earlier about what if. It's like the thing is, we have this habit of reaffirming what we don't want.
Yeah.
So what if you affirm what you don't have yet that you do want? It's a step forward to be willing to ask questions. Like we said, ask questions you don't know the answers to. Like, how is it that life works out for my greatest good all the time? We can't answer that question off the top of our head until we can. So why not ask what if questions? Be open to that and play in it, because where you are now, if it's not where you want to be, you're really good at that. Now try something different.
Excellent.
Rex
Excellent.
or Bob?
Bob, go ahead. Bob, go ahead.
I would always just look back and say, how is this serving me? And then being stuck sometimes is serving us. And we will deny it and say it's not. But more often than not, a woman being abused or a man who's, an alcoholic, they're being served in some way, or they would stop it. And so I always say, ask yourself how it's serving you. And then if it's not serving you in a good, healthy way, then you have the tools to change it.
That's
Thank
very
you.
well said. Very
Rex?
well said.
Rex, is that you?
No, I don't know what.
I don't know. Some angel's getting a wing or something out there.
Sounds like it.
What the heck that is? That's
I
scary.
don't know.
Is that somebody's pacemaker? Are we having a problem here? What's going on?
No. Somebody's having a good time.
Rex, any last words?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what everybody said so far. It's been really beautiful and wonderful and a great time together to think and to learn how to change and to move forward. I'd also say encourage everybody to stop singing the Italian cement song and move on. You know what that one is. I was cement for you, and to move forward. Don't get stuck in it. Don't get caught in it. You know, I think that everything serves us. I don't think there's anything in the universe that can't serve us. You know, I argue that the universe is expanding. I mean, the law of physics is that while the universe expands, there's entropy, so things fall apart while it's expanding. Just the way it is. It's all good. It's all service. You know, it's just what we notice or what we pay attention to that, or how we judge it, that makes a difference of whether or not we feel like we're being served or we feel like we're being a victim. And anyone who feels like they're a victim can learn how to be a champion or be a victor and just move from wherever they are. But love yourself, care for yourself, enjoy yourself, and love everybody in the world. And it makes it just a much, much more wonderful place. So,
I love
Absolutely. Amen.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you. I'm going to have to really run.
Yes,
Good.
we are leaving. So everybody, thank you so much.
It's a blessing to be with each of you. Thank you.
You too, Rex. Love you. Thank you,
Thank everybody. Thank you, everybody. We do appreciate all you guys coming
We
on.
do.
And,
Thank you,
appreciate
Bob.
the people who have been watching. I know we didn't give you a lot of attention tonight. Hopefully you got something out of this and you'll share this with your friends. But Darlene and Tom and Michael and all of you out there that were making comments earlier, and Scott, thank you so much for tuning in and watching us.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. And in the message or in the comments is where you can donate to Bob for what he's doing. And if they don't donate something, Bob, I'll send you something here in a few minutes too. Because again, thank you for what you're doing. And like I said, I don't care if it's $5, $10. If we all sent $1 to him right now, it would help with the fuel cost and for him to keep doing what's so needed out there. So
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Love you so much.
And
Bob.
one day we're all going to have a gathering down here in Florida. You guys come and hang out with me.
All right.
Because where you guys live, it's too freaking cold. You come down to Florida.
Well, no, he's in California. These two are in California. I'm in Montana.
Yeah,
So-
She's the one in the cold climate.
Yeah, I'm in cold
okay.
climate. So we'll have to do it in the wintertime. Because these guys, it's a matter of you guys get humidity in California or not really? You don't.
Sometimes,
really.
but not like Florida.
Yeah, not like Florida. So they'll want to come at wintertime too. That's when we'll figure it out. All right, you
Yeah,
guys have a good one. Hold
All
on.
right.
Take care, guys.
Keeping me safe inside.